welcome to episode 2 of Movies and Us. I'm TJ.
And I'm Marcus.
And this is the review show that reviews genre movies. I forget the goddamn tagline.
I knew you were going to forget it.
Sometimes I think it is. I forget what our tagline is. But I have 3 different taglines for 3 different shows. Forgive me. Anyway, we're going into Superman and the Mole Men, which was released in 1951. It is 58 minutes long. Released by Lippitt Pictures, produced by Barney A. Sarcy? Sarcy? I don't know his name. Whatever, he's probably dead right now. He doesn't care. Directed by Lee Sholem. Whatever. It stars George Reeves as Superman and Phyllis Coates as Lois Lane. So before we get started in here, I want to mention we're doing Superman, so we're out of brutal Captain America times. We're a decade later, where Captain America doesn't kill 19 people. That was his final count from the last episode that we forgot to mention, by the way. And I also wanted to mention that we're not working off of an official timeline at all. We're just using Wikipedia and using the live action lists that are in Wikipedia. So the first Marvel movie that says in there is the 1944 Captain America serial, but the next movie is 1951 Superman and Mole Men. But I know there's other serials like Captain Marvel and stuff that were released, but we're not covering them because they're not in the list. We're just going to be using the Wikipedia list. It's just easier.
If you don't like it, you know what to do, guys.
No. Starting already.
Already. Let's get to this review. I'm excited. Kind of.
All right. So this movie was actually a pilot for the Adventure of Superman's 1950s Superman show. But before we go into it, I got some trailers in my DVD version.
Ooh, I didn't get any of that, so please elaborate.
I got a trailer for The Adventures of Captain Marvel, the serial, which I brought up earlier.
Mm-hmm.
A movie that I never heard of called Viva Max.
Viva Max? Did it look good?
It looked like it was a comedy about guys retaking the Alamo. And it looked like it was like a 70s movie. It was in color, so this isn't black and white, so. And then I also got a movie called Supervan. Supervan, V-A-N, which looked ridiculous.
That sounds up my alley.
They're cheesy. There's not much to say about them, but I just wanted to throw them in there because I had them. So before we go into Superman for the third time, I have another beforehand. I want to talk about the Superman curse. Do you know what that is?
People get hurt while they're being Superman or after Superman, yeah.
Yeah, it's no longer a thing since Dean Cain put on the suit has been fine. But I didn't know what happened to George Reeves. Did you know?
I knew vague stuff. I've seen the movie, at least early 2000s of Ben Affleck, but I don't remember much detail about it. Apparently
they think he committed suicide, but there was theories that he was maybe murdered and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, it's interesting backstory about it could have been that he either killed himself. Another theory is that his fiance shot him, and another theory is that he was, for some reason, the mob wanted him dead.
Wow, he got in with the mob.
Yeah, from what I read, it looked like he was having an affair with some lady or something connected that way, but I didn't really dive into it. It's not really relevant to this review, but I just found it interesting. And yeah, this was the start of the Superman curse, and another thing that I was interested in, I realized doing it. So George Reeves is the guy that did this, and then Christopher Reeve is the actress. So are they related at all?
They're not related.
Because maybe it's not a Superman curse, but a Reeve curse.
That's dark. That's really dark.
I'm just saying, Dean Cain put on the Superman outfit in The Adventures of Lois and Clark. He's like a religious nut now, but he's fine. Then Brandon Routh put it on for Return of Superman, and he's still around. He was the Atom in Legends of Tomorrow in the Arrow series.
Now I know later on, like you said, that man, I forget his name. You just said people equivalent the curse to having a bad acting career at a certain point too.
Well, you can argue that, but Dean Cain, you still know who he is, and he's around still. I mean, Brandon Routh is still acting in superhero stuff. Henry Cavill is Geralt in the Witcher series, so
very true. He's in the Mission Impossible film, so yeah, he's like they're still doing good. Just Hollywood and superstitions.
I mean, it held weight back when after what happened to Christopher Reeve, but at the same time. But you know what? To be fair, though, maybe it happens after they're done with Superman. No,
that's why I got not during it, but after the case.
Nope, I'm wrong. Because apparently they stopped. They were going to continue the adventures of Superman even after George Reeve died.
Wow.
So yeah, they were just going to use like other footage and like a double for back shots and stuff for them. Anyway, we start in space.
Well, you're gonna go to the movie night. I'm gonna have any more pre-ramblings.
Nope. We start in space.
The Final Front. Oh, wrong series.
And then we're introduced to Superman through a narrator, how his planet blew up. If you don't know the Superman origin, why are you listening to this? But we really start in Silsbee. I don't think it's in Texas. It feels like it's in Texas because of the cowboy hats and stuff in the oil field. But we start in Silsbee, where an oil guy is shutting down the oil plant for some reason.
They never really tell you, is he a sheriff? Is he the oil? Like, they don't give him a title, do they?
He is in charge of the oil refinery.
Well, he doesn't look like someone who'd be in... Like, he's dressed like a sheriff, in my opinion.
Yeah, except the sheriff... I'm actually looking at the scene with the sheriff right now, standing next to the oil guy, and the difference is the sheriff has a badge.
What sheriff?
The sheriff.
I missed a whole sheriff section?
The sheriff came when they had to pick up the dead body and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then the leader of the mob punched him in the face. So this is the deepest oil well ever drilled.
Yes, I have the numbers written down. We'll carry to hear it.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, the well has measured down to 32,740 feet, or 6 miles.
Yeah, I have the 6 miles down. So apparently they kept drilling through things and it just stopped. And
yes.
It was, I like the center of the earth is hollow. Which makes
hollow earth. This is Gray's theory.
Which makes no sense, but okay.
No.
But yeah, so he's closing down the shop, he's hiding things. They make him look like the bad guy for like the first 15 minutes of the show, this oil executive. Lois and Clark show up as reporters. They're here because I guess the what's it called? The publicist for the oil refinery, which I didn't know they had, brought them all out here to do a story on the deepest refinery ever. But this guy's like, nope, I'm closing it down. And the guy's like, why do you tell me? And I guess there's no story here. But Clark's like, oh, I bet there's a story here.
Oh, there's always a story, sir. Especially when Superman's around.
And then, after they all leave, we get the Mole Man. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, you want to describe how these things look to the viewers?
No, nope, you do it.
Oh, okay. I'll describe how these little creatures... Well, 1950s budget. Well, there's tiny people, like around 3 to 4 feet, in the movie at least. They have bald caps. Their heads are enlarged. Bald caps with hair going around the edges. Furry hands. They're wearing like a black... I can't tell it's furry, but in some scenes like has texture to it. A black suit. Looks like an uncomfortable sweater, honestly. Uncomfortable pants. And they're just walking around looking at things like, this is different. This is how we're acting with this.
Well, I found it curious. They come up through this like cap that the oil refinery put on the hole, because they moved the entire drill apparently. That's usually, because that's how that works, I guess.
Yeah, on the wheels and scoot it over.
Right. But they put a cap on the hole, and then every time the Mole Men come out, they have trouble getting out of that hole. Is that intentional?
I thought it was intentional.
Yeah, because they have to have one guy pull them out and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
They just move awkwardly in general, so I figured that was part of the bit.
Okay. But anyway, Lois and Clark go back to their motel and then decide when they get back to the motel to go back to the oil refinery. Why? I didn't get it.
Well, don't ask questions.
But they also say that, they said, I'm sorry, I do know why. They said that there's no one there at this time of the night of the oil refinery. So they go back to the oil refinery, and it's still daytime out. So they go back, and the mole man scared this old man to death. He was working at the refinery. They look in his window, and I guess the old man had a heart attack and died.
Yeah, he dies off screen. He had a whole thing of oranges, too.
Yeah, he had a thing for oranges. But it was just there to show that, that everything the mole men touch is radioactive, or at least looks it, because it all glows.
Yes.
So, you know what I want to bring up? Clark at one point says, "Great Scott." That is a big saying. Great Scott.
Yeah.
Who is Scott, and why is he so great?
Oh my god.
Anyway, Clark shows up. Finds the body, and Lois sees the mole man, and she doesn't die of a heart attack, but
she's got a young, healthy heart. That's all.
But the coroner shows up, the sheriff shows up, the oil executive guy shows up, and then they're like, "Oh, he just died of a regular heart attack." But Lois is like, "No, I saw them; they're real." And they don't believe Lois because she's a 1950s woman. So we get the reveal that the oil executive guy has taken samples and they think it's radium, and they think that means that the mole men are radioactive. But it turns out, we find out in the end, it's just luminous phosphorate, I think that's what they said. So it's harmless, it doesn't actually do anything. So every time the mole men touch something, it glows, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's going to be radioactive."
Yeah, because the mole men touch a lot of things in this. Plants, the ground, obviously, people, objects in general.
The mole men are out, and people are starting to see them. So this small town gathers a mob, and this one guy, the antagonist of this entire show, is a monster.
Well, he wasn't. You think he's a monster, really?
Yeah, and not just because he's, specious against mole men or anything. He's shot Superman. He's like, "You're in my way," and he shot him 4 times with a gun. And he's like, "Who are you?" He doesn't know who Superman is in this. And he
definitely not.
He would have killed him if he was able to. There's one point where he directed the mob to shoot, and it almost shot Lois in the head and killed her.
Yeah.
This guy punched a sheriff in the face. He belongs in jail.
He's not that bad, though.
No, he's that bad.
Well, he did everything you said he did, obviously.
He wanted to lynch up one of the mole men after they were shot in the chest. I was getting very 1950 vibes from this mob.
But see, that's why I think he was a monster. Like, okay, yeah, 1950s, that's how they were. Like, this isn't
that doesn't excuse the monsterism just because of the time period.
I think it does.
No.
Yeah.
If this was a different movie and that was a black person there, would you excuse it?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Really?
Because in that time period, I'm not rooting for that, obviously, but in that time period, I get their narrow-mindedness behavior. Like, this definitely has allegories of racism for sure. Like how you said, how they want to lynch him and shoot them and burn them in the shed and all that. They want to do a lot of terrible things to these creatures, and it's disgusting. But again, that time period made sense.
I don't know if we ever established this, but I'm a white guy and Marcus is a black guy. So this is a weird conversation to be having and be on opposite ends of.
So I get where you're coming from. And this current day perspective, yeah, that man's a monster for sure, obviously. But during the 1950s, he's just a man he even says, "I'm trying to protect my town." He said at a certain point, them hurting the old man, accidentally killing the old man, hurting the man that got caught off guard and flipped his truck is one thing. But they get in the room with a girl, and they play games with her, obviously, but they're not doing anything terrible.
Yeah, they do nothing to this girl. They're just playing with her.
From his perspective, he's saying, that message with a little girl, a little blonde white girl, he didn't say that part, but a little blonde girl is another thing. We cannot have them terrorizing children.
That's
And
like
okay, I get your point, man. I don't agree with you, but I get it.
it's like you can't have a person of color near my white child. That's what I got out of it.
Exactly, for sure. But I like that's who he is.
Doesn't mean he's not a monster. Like I'm watching.
I don't think it makes him a monster.
I'm watching a scene right now, and he's leading a mob with guns, and he points a gun at Superman, and Superman takes the gun from him, bends it, and then he punches Superman in the face twice. Like,
then he runs into the building, gets another gun, shoots at him, then throws a gun. I seen the movie. I remember.
Yeah, you can't defend this guy at all.
Well, he's not like he's coming from a place of like
he's comically evil,
but not like a good comedy. Like he's not like I'm gonna kill all you bad.
No,
like, he's not like that.
He is, how people were evil in that time.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna argue that because that's facts. But like I don't think it's monstrous. It's a big word to put on that man.
No, he's a monster.
No. These monsters are these Mole Men are monsters. But he's not a monster.
He's willing to kill innocent people to get to these other people.
Yeah.
That's monstrous.
But like he knew Superman wasn't gonna get killed.
No, he didn't. They don't know who Superman is in this.
Okay, you're right.
Anyway, I forget where I was. They are creepy, the Mole Men, though, when they do show up in the little girl's window and they're just staring at her.
That was kind of eerie, yes.
And then the little girl starts talking to him and they just crawl in through her window.
That was okay. And see, and I get his side. Okay, yeah, kill the Mole Men.
But
yeah,
he has never seen them at this point.
Oh, he's this is all word of mouth with him. He just wants to kill something.
Yeah.
For sure.
I know.
Yeah.
He's not excused. Anyway. So the mob takes off, and I found it funny. As the mob's walking away, one guy breaks off and pulls a barber pole off the wall and uses it as a weapon.
Yeah.
I've never thought to use a barber pole as a weapon before.
Well, no, I can't say anything for that one.
Why not? You've already defended racist, so go ahead.
I'm not that's one of the hot takes I was going to say. These Mole Men are definitely another race, an allegory for another race, and the radium's like the Z's are spreading essentially. So I get where the guy's coming from. I don't like it. I'm not saying I like it or I agree with him, but I get it. That's all I'm saying. And he's not a monster. He's just misguided and misinformed.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's gonna change his ways once he gets taught right. So anyway, 24 minutes into this 58-minute movie, we finally get Superman.
Yeah, it took a while for us to get Superman.
And when he gets dressed, he goes. They show him his feet take off, and he flies off screen in the beginning. So I didn't think we were getting any flying at all.
No,
but we get a little bit of it in a little bit later.
We get a weird section. We get like a little weird clip. I hope you got that in your version too.
I don't know. The next scene is they got the Mole Man trapped on the dam.
Yes.
And the guys are. They're clear as day on the dam on the video, but apparently they need this light to see them, which is strange, but whatever. I have Superman, but Superman flies in. Did you catch this? His flying has sound effects to it.
Yeah, it's like a.
Yeah, but Superman coming in causes one of the guys to shoot one of the Mole Men who falls off the dam. Superman rescues him, while the other Mole Man gets away, and then we go into like.
Well, that's the clip I want to talk about.
Go ahead. When
he swoops in, it looks fine and everything for like a clip or two, for a frame or two. It turns into like a cartoon animation. And
Does it?
Yeah. And it's like, wow, that was weird. And I was like, that's stylish. I wish they kept doing that in the movie. Well, but it was just probably how they did VFX back then or something.
I don't know. I actually have that scene on. Oh, yeah, it did. I see it.
Yeah, see? It's like, what? Did I just see that?
So, I mean, we both watched this movie already. We just have it on in the background just to refresh us.
Yeah, because it's one of those movies.
Yeah.
But not in a bad way.
But the other one gets away, and then we go into a long chase scene. I don't know how long it was, but it felt like 20 minutes.
Yeah, and originally, we were reading, it was longer. They had cut some of that down.
No. This is the longer one. They cut it down for when they re-released this as a two-parter in the show.
Oh, okay. Because this, man, it's in a chase scene.
Yeah, it's like they got four guys chasing them. One guy has. Why does one guy have all four dogs and they don't each have a dog? Is beyond me. But
Makes no sense.
no, but they're all chasing this, and it goes on and on. And I'm not gonna lie, halfway through I fell asleep.
Well, I pulled my phone out, so that's fair. Like, yeah, I'm not watching this.
Yeah, like he's running through the forest, he's running through the woods, he comes across a guy who's drinking water, he scares him away, so he picks up, and then we cut back to the other guy chasing him, so he picks up the water and he's drinking it, and then he puts it back down, and they chase again, and then they keep chasing, and then he falls down, the guy, and they show him fall down, he gets back up, and it's like, oh my god.
And you have to keep in mind, this is 1950, so the camera's not moving with him. That camera's on tripods, just panning left and right, and just the only action you see is a guy running, stopping, looking around, and running again. So this is not an exciting chase in the slightest.
No, they keep clipping back and forth between the chasees and the chased.
But even then,
it's not edited badly. It's just
long.
way too long. It's like, we gotta make this an hour movie. How do we do that? Let's pad it out with this chase scene.
And that's when they chase him into a shack or a shed, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. So they were like, okay, we got on trap. What are we going to do? No, we're not going to shoot him. We're not going to go in and look. We're just going to set the place on fire. And then they set the place on fire, and the little guy escapes through the floor, and they're like, well, we can get the body later. That fire's not going to burn down. And then they go home.
Yeah. So, like a good 5-10 minute chase scene. And they were in the building when it's on fire for another 3 minutes. That's another long sequence, honestly. And then they just walk away. All that for nothing.
Superman takes the other mole man to the hospital. And the director of the hospital says, you can't keep a mole man in here. When I come back in the morning, you better have him gone. And he leaves. It's like, what? You don't want him here, but you're going to let it happen? They have this one doctor. He's like Dr. Handsome. And he's like, yeah. I'm going to help you. I'll treat the mole man. And the nurse is like, I'm not going in there with her. And Clark Kent's like, well, the doctor says, I need an assistant. Clark Kent says, I'll be your assistant because I'm medically trained. I'm just a newspaper guy with medical experience, apparently. Because they just let anyone assist with surgery, sure.
He knew a lot of things about a lot of stuff, like the materials that were dug up. He knew all the scientific terms for that stuff. He knows all this medicine stuff. Like, come on, Superman. You gotta dumb it down a little bit.
I mean, the comic books are ridiculous. I haven't really read much early Superman. On my other podcast, Comics and Us, I'm reviewing Batman. And Batman just knows everything. When he shows up exactly where all the bad things are happening. It's like, really? But anyway, this mob is ridiculous. Like, they got the whole town on their side. There's only like 13 people in this town, but you know.
Yeah, it's not a big town.
But they find out that the other mole man's in the hospital, so they're going to go to the hospital. That's where they almost shoot Lois Lane and stuff. Yeah. But meanwhile, the other mole man escapes back down to his subterranean, I was going to say base, but who knows what's down there.
It's 6 miles down. How long should that take someone to climb down?
I don't know. How long does it take to walk 6 miles?
Well, I'm a pretty hefty dude, so this will take like at least 3 days.
So as the mob's about to go in and take it, the other mole man goes down and comes back up with like 4 other mole men, and then they bring their death ray with them.
Dun dun dun.
This death ray is ridiculous looking.
It's ridiculous looking, and it does like ridiculous damage. If you want to call it that. It
shoots like sonic waves out of it or something.
Yeah, I said it shot out like energy pulse, like little boom, boom, boom kind of things.
It's a little ridiculous looking, but we read on the wiki that it was apparently made out of a vacuum cleaner, so it makes sense. It was ridiculous.
Well, I'll go back to the doctor real quick. I like how after he examines the creature, he likes to say it has the same body, build, and entrails as a human does. The only difference between them and us is the outer fur.
Yeah.
So I had that question earlier, but like, they're not going to answer that question. Like, well, they did. They answered that. They had to explain their allegory, essentially. Yep.
Anyway, they shoot to death. Well, the mob leader, the monster that I was talking about, realizes that
Wait, hold on, say that again.
The mob leader who's a monster.
The mob leader who is a man who's misguided and misinformed. Yes.
The monster mob leader.
The misinformed mob leader.
I don't know why he ends up going back to the hospital. He tells everyone to stay here, but he ends up going back to the hospital after Superman sends them all away. But he's by himself with his gun, and then the Mole Man starts shooting him with the death ray.
Yeah.
But Superman steps in front of the death ray, and he starts shooting Superman, and it doesn't do anything.
No, this death ray, this barely does anything to the man. It just shoots pulse after pulse after pulse.
And he looked like he was hurting.
But, like, you don't see any x-rays of him. You don't see anything happening to him. He's just like, damn you, Mole Man.
But Superman makes this big speech about how we're not going to hurt you. And so he walks them back to their home. And the mob monster gets away scot-free with not, assault on a police officer and assault with deadly weapon and attempted murder and all this other stuff. But, Superman helps them down the ladder, and we slowly watch them all descend down the ladder. And then Superman even puts the death ray, gives them back the death ray down the hole.
Yeah. This movie has a lot of slowness to it.
It's very slow, and the slowest parts are ridiculous. And then the Mole Men somehow blow up the oil refinery. I don't know how they did it. They're already in the hole with the cap closed, but they blow up the oil refinery.
Yeah, they shoot, I guess they shot the death ray up, because you see the same pulse come up, and it hits it three times, and it just goes up in flames.
And that's the end.
Yep.
They all lived happily ever after. Lois, the closing line is from Lois saying that them blowing up the oil refinery is them saying they'll live their lives and we'll live ours. The end. It's so bad.
It's so on the nose, like, hey, race guys, we're all the same.
Oh my god, it was so bad.
Although there's no other person of color there besides us, all these.
Yeah, it's all a bunch of white guys.
Yep. Like a handful of women.
And all the women are hysterical. And...
yeah, they are. It's not like the Captain America one when they're actually strong females or a female in it.
Right. I mean, Lois is not bad, but she's
just there.
She's just there. She's pointless pretty much throughout this whole thing. She's just there to say Clark Kent's a weakling and Superman's great.
Yeah, pretty much in all the ways she can, too.
Right. I don't know.
But yeah, I had some hot takes on this. Race was definitely one of them. Another thing I felt like this hit on was like environmentalism or something along the lines where you mess with an area you shouldn't be messing with. Things like that happen, I guess. I'm not a scientist. I don't.
Yeah, don't go digging in places you shouldn't be digging.
Yeah.
It was lame. All right, what do you want to rate it?
Well, I didn't hate this one. It's definitely the ones we watched so far. This is definitely the weakest.
It's a 5.
I gave it less than I gave it like my final score is like a 4 out of 10, a strong 4 out of 10.
It's average.
I'd rather watch the other 4-hour Captain America thing.
Yeah,
honestly, that was more entertaining than this. It was just like.
But here's the thing: that one was a 4-hour serial. This was a pilot for a TV show.
Yeah,
and you kind of have to judge it based on it's a pilot for a TV show, not an actual movie.
And I'll give you that. But like, I came in expecting, okay, Superman and the Mole Men. Okay, so he's gonna fight these things. He's gonna be like,
but see, going into it, knowing Superman, it's actually right down Superman's alley. Just defending the Mole Man, trying to figure out what they're actually after, trying to stop the mob from killing the Mole Men. Because we didn't get into that, but Superman's trying to stop the mob from actually attacking these Mole Men because you shouldn't just attack things that you don't understand.
Oh yeah, they were definitely not in the right at all. Superman was definitely the one.
Right. And that's pretty much Superman to his core. Mm-hmm. Always, open-minded and stuff like that. So it felt like a Superman story. It's just...
Yeah, and again, George Reeves is a great ass Superman. I really enjoy him as this role.
Actually, he looked kind of weird as Superman to me.
Oh, really? Why?
I don't know, but he made a great Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Which he spent most of the time for. But as Superman, he looked a little weird to me. Like, maybe he's just a little too stocky for the role.
Well, is that the suit he was wearing? Probably, you think? Like,
Maybe it's possible too, but I don't know. Like his hair has felt off to me for some reason too.
that too. Yeah, it was too jet black. It was too 50s, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. It just looked weird as Superman. I had no problem with him as Clark Kent though.
Yeah, yes, agree. He was great as Clark Kent.
Yeah, and I actually liked what's her name, Phyllis Coates as Lois Lane too. She was Lois Lane. I never thought, hey, this isn't Lois Lane. I just felt like she was just pointless in the story.
Yeah, no, the casting was pretty much spot on for all the characters.
I'm gonna leave it at a 5 because I know there's worse than this out there.
Oh, for sure, but there's definitely better.
Yeah, I mean that's why it's average.
Yeah, no, I'm giving it a little bit below average. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Who knows? I'm giving it a 4. You know what? I'm giving this one a 5. This is a 5 out of 10.
All right. What do they care anyway? They're idiots, the fans anyway.
They are. Like I said, they just egg suckers. That's the best they are.
Yeah. Good riddance.
Yeah.
Let's go do something else. This is stupid. They're stupid.
Yeah. Let's go climb down a well or something.